Okay. Hey, everyone. So glad that you joined us tonight. And we've got some really good information to share with you. I'm Donnie Anderson, um, and I've been involved in this company for, I guess, 15 months and had a ball doing it. So we've got a great lineup tonight to share the information with you, and I hope that you saw what I saw. So to get it started, to really launch this thing into high gear, we've got one of the best. We got two of the best owners with us tonight. So to go through the front part, we got Mr. Brian Lucia. Brian, take it away, buddy.
Well, thank you, Donnie. Appreciate it. And welcome to all of you who are seeing this information for the first or second time, whether live or recorded. And I always like to say that kudos to you. It says a lot about the relationship you have with the person who invited you. And tonight's about learning. And you're going to get to learn about an amazing company that, as you mentioned, Donnie, that we are all so very excited about. And I'm so very grateful that Donnie brought this information to me, and that's what's great about this company and the way it works is it's the purest form of advertising, which is word of mouth. And you're going to learn tonight about the company LifeWave and a little patch called the X39. Before we get going, just want to throw out here a little disclaimer to make sure you understand that you're going to hear some product testimonials from some people tonight, and it's a direct reflection of somebody's personal story, and it's not necessarily typical for all people. LifeWave and all of us as brand partners don't claim to cure or treat or cure chronic sickness or diseases. You're going to learn about LifeWave, which is a patented phototherapy. And God designed the human body to heal itself given the right conditions. And that's, a lot of what we'll talk about tonight, and you'll hear from some people. Certainly, I would hope that if you've got some type of sickness or disease, you've already, been in touch and worked with a physician and professional doctor in regards to that. We're also going to talk a little bit about a business opportunity at the end of this, because as all of us share LifeWave with our friends, there is an opportunity to earn some commissions. There's no guarantees of income. Certainly, it's we mentioned realtors earlier on before we got started tonight, and if a realtor has a license but never sells a house, they don't earn any money, right? So it's just all about getting out and creating that revenue by sharing these amazing patches. And the thing you'll find is that I always say, hey, at the very least, share it with enough people to get enough commissions so that your patches are free, and you'll learn about that tonight. So again, you're going to hear specifically of our foundational product called the X39, and it all started with a gentleman named David Schmidt. And David is the founder. He's been an inventor and scientist since he was a kid, quite frankly. And you'll see that first bullet point, he's got over 200 patents to his name as a scientist and inventor. And I'll come back to David in a second, but I always like to tell the origin of how LifeWave came about. And David was commissioned by the government to help the Navy, first and foremost, work on a better way to have oxygen in submarines. And then they said, hey, do you think you can help us with something for our Navy SEALs when they go on missions for 36, 48 hours or maybe longer? A lot of times they utilize stimulants to keep their energy. And through that process, David created a non-chemical, non-transdermal patch called the Energy Enhancer. And we always like to say the rest of the story started at the beginning there with the Energy Enhancer. And through talking to a friend and talking about possibly starting a business, a friend who was an investor talked to another investor who talked to a physician who talked to Richard Quick, who at the time was the Stanford swim coach, but also the coach of the United States Olympic swim team. And Richard put the energy patch, on 10 of his swimmers after he had met with David, and 8 of those 10 swimmers had their personal best records the first week they wore those. So as you can imagine, everybody was excited about that. And then the purest form of advertising is word of mouth, and that's how everything took off. And that's really how you got on this Zoom tonight, again, either live or recorded, because somebody told you about LifeWave and this amazing product. You'll notice that in 2008 here on this slide, it says that David put his focus and attention on stem cell research. He knew that was the future of healthcare. And, it took him 10 years and $4.5 million to create this X39. And of his 200 plus patents to his name, here's one of those right there. You see a copy of it on the right side of the screen, the U.S. patent for the X39. Highlighted on the right, I'll read that to you. And it says that the embodiment of the invention, which may be worn anywhere on the human body, that causes beneficial effect by providing, here's that word again, phototherapy to the human body. As a result of elevating copper peptide, including activation of stem cells, improvements in energy, elevation of antioxidants, big one here, reduction in inflammation, management of pain, improvements in stamina, elevation of collagen production, and improved wound healing. Guys, not only the things that it does for the body, that it helps also take away things like inflammation. For those who may know a lot about the body, and we've got some healthcare professionals on here tonight. Really, inflammation is kind of the root of all evil with our bodies in most cases. The word's getting out. Not only did your friend tell you this, but the world's taking notice in the sense that this amazing technology was recognized by the Biotech Breakthrough Award literally just a few months ago at the end of 2025. You'll note on the right that there were literally thousands of nominations in 15 different countries, and Lifeway was the worldwide award winner of this breakthrough award for stem cell innovation. Now, you're probably thinking, okay, I've heard of stem cells, not quite sure what they are. Well, a very simple layman's way to explain it is the left side of the screen, that stem cells are the master cells and the building blocks of our body. They're there to repair and renew our body. On the right, you see that word rejuvenation. That's the key to healing. As we mentioned earlier, God created our bodies to heal themselves given the right conditions, and that's what the patch is helping it do. Now, this is you hear a cause and effect or problem and solution. Here's why this is so important to all of us, is that you heard that stem cells are the master building block of our bodies. Well, when we become 30 years old, only 50% of our stem cells are active. When you get to 60, less than 10% are active, or you can look at it this way, 90% of our stem cells are dormant. That's a problem. That's when aging starts to multiply. And David has, you'll see in a minute, said this is the not anti-aging, but age reversing for so many people. So here's how it works. And this was the most important thing to me when I sat down with Donnie, is when he told me that this was non-transdermal. It was one of the first questions I asked. I said, well, Donnie, what is this patch putting in the body? And he said, nothing. And I was like, really? So no chemicals, no contraindications or interactions. And, from a business standpoint, the way my mind works, I was thinking, okay, if everybody who wants to wear this to maybe look and feel their best has to stop and see if there's an interaction with the medication they're taking. And guys, it seems like probably 80% of our society is on some kind of prescription med, or maybe they take something over the counter. As soon as I understood that this is light therapy and nothing's going in the body, so there's no interactions of any kind with any prescription drug or over the counter medicine, whatever. And I spend a little more time on this slide than most people because these bullet points are the most important. You see there where it says that the patented nanocrystal technology. Well, what David has invented with this patch is a term called photobiomodulation or phototherapy, in that our bodies emit heat and light. So picture your favorite military movie when they flip down their night vision goggles and can see a perpetrator in the distance, right? It's because our bodies emit heat and light. And David has channeled that light to trigger the GHKCU copper peptide and in turn activate these dormant stem cells. And so, as complex as it is, it's also quite simple. And so, what are the benefits? We named most of those for you in the read of the patent, but here's some in a bullet point form. Again, there's that reduction or reduced inflammation, increased strength. I'll tell you that for me, the very first full day that I wore this, that night, I had the best sleep in decades. I was dreaming again, I am dreaming again for the first time, sleeping into a deep reparative sleep. Mental clarity there on the top right. We've had a lot of people as extreme as traumatic brain injuries to people with COVID long haulers and a lot of brain fog who are seeing mental clarity for the first time in years. And I mentioned improved sleep. So it's the overall optimal health that you're going to get. And everybody's body's different, and it's gonna the patch is gonna help different things happen, maybe on a different timeline. Speaking of a timeline, the first few days that you wear this, 4,000 genes in your body will begin to reset. Within just a few weeks, your brain will become balanced. That's that mental clarity we talked about. And then within 90 days, collagen increases. Now, understand because of marketing in our society on television and print ads, the beauty companies out there are using collagen as a big buzzword to get people, but you can't get the proper collagen in your body by rubbing a cream on your face or quite frankly even getting an injection. What this does is it increases the body's production of collagen, and collagen is not just, oh, you want pretty skin. Collagen is something that helps our joints and our bones and everything through our body. So that's a very important thing, and you can see there within 90 days. And so one of my favorite quotes from David Schmidt, the founder and inventor and CEO of our company, is he says it's not anti-aging, it's age reversing. He's actually got clinical trials that show after 6 months of wearing this, the human heart can reverse in age. And so it's an amazing thing. And you think, okay, well, how hard is this, or what do I do every day? And back to the word simple is that we just peel and stick, right? The little patch is about the size of the quarter. You see two different diagrams here on the left of the screen. It shows just a couple of fingers or an inch below your belly button. You can wear it there. Or the main one in the middle shows the C7. That's the little hump where your back and your neck meet. The reason they show these in all of our literature is because when David Schmidt did all of the medical clinical trials and patent studies, you obviously in any type of something to create data, you have to have consistency, and that's where the subjects wore those. Plus, there's a lot of nerve endings there that really contribute to the body much quicker, so that's where it was chosen. However, I will tell you, David Schmidt would be we've all heard him speak, those of us in the business, and he says, "Hey, look, you can wear it anywhere in the body. These just happen to be a couple of the main places." Now, again, the simplicity is 12 hours on, 12 hours off. You get up in the morning, brush your teeth, stick your patch on. After dinner or when you brush your teeth before bed, take it off, rest and repair while you're sleeping, and do it again the next day. It's just that simple. Peel and stick. I mentioned you're going to get to hear some testimonials. We've got some live testimonials from people here in our organization, but I like to show a couple of these. Dr. Leland Stillman is not a member of the LifeWave corporate team. He is a brand partner, just like Donnie and I and many of the people on this Zoom tonight. And he was already an expert in red light therapy and was blown away by this technology when it was introduced to him. And you see there on his quote that he puts the patches on every single one of his patients. And then Dr. Joseph Peck, this is a pretty profound statement that he says this patch, stem cell reactivation patch, is the most significant medical breakthrough in my lifetime. And I like this too. He says it would be criminal not to share this with your loved ones. And that's really what all of us are doing, right? Is just sharing this. So a couple of folks we would love for you to hear from tonight. Speaking of those two medical experts, Dr. Stillman and Dr. Peck, we've got a medical expert of our own who's been a highly respected professional in the medical industry for 30 years. Doctor, or not doctor, I almost called you doctor, but hey, you might as well be. Rachel Stolte. Rachel, thank you for joining us tonight. And really want to hear, I love hearing your story, but how, when this was introduced to you, I think it's fair to say you were probably a skeptic, weren't you, before you really jumped all in? Yep, where are you? Unmute yourself, Rach, and I'll bring you full screen.
Okay, I think I got it now.
There you go.
I got it right now. Sorry.
Okay, no problem.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, my cousin Leanne was the one who introduced me to it. She had actually called me and was telling me about it. But yeah, for sure I was a little skeptical, but now I'm a believer. But a little bit about me. I've been in the medical field for a total of 31 years now, 21 of those as a nurse practitioner. And I've walked the halls of many emergency rooms and hospitals and clinics all across this country. And during that time, I've really watched our healthcare system change dramatically, actually, and not for the better. But when I first started in medicine, I believe deeply that, we had a system of healthcare that was able to heal people. But today it's hard to ignore, the truth that our population is just getting sicker. Chronic disease is rampant and cancer is more prevalent than it ever has been. I'm hearing more and more every day and every week of friends and families and acquaintances that are being diagnosed with cancer. And despite all of the medicines that we prescribed, all of these interventions and diagnostic studies and surgeries, people aren't thriving. We're just not getting better. And like so many of my colleagues, I reached a point, I was really just disillusioned, realizing that traditional medicine has become more about managing disease versus restoring wellness, which is what we
Mm,
were intended to do. I began basically, like so many others, looking for a better way, something more natural, more a hopeful approach to help people truly heal. That's when I discovered, honestly, LifeWave. I saw something completely different. It's a technology that works with your body rather than against it, which is traditional medicine. Sadly, what helps one thing hurts another, but not with LifeWave, not with this transdermal technology. It works with your body, not against it. There's no drugs, no side effects, no limits to who can on who can benefit for it. It doesn't say, well, I'm sorry, you've got too many medical conditions. It's just impossible. No, it works with everybody. It's just a simple, powerful concept that was rooted in the body's own natural ability to repair and regenerate itself. And I'm not alone. We're seeing pharmacists, physicians, nurse practitioners, PAs, all of these professionals from every corner of healthcare stepping away from a broken system and moving towards solutions like LifeWave offers. So, LifeWave just represents hope in it for me, honestly, and for these patients. It's not about fighting symptoms. It's about awakening the body's, innate potential to heal, just as it was designed to do. So for me, that's what real healthcare should look like, helping people live their best life. And I finally feel like I found a way to help people do that.
oh my gosh, that is so great. I'm gonna summarize or repeat that quote from you, Rachel, that I think is so powerful. Managing disease with most what we've used to in our society versus restoring wellness, and I love that you're able to help people with that and with your body, not against it. So, gosh, all of us who've experienced great things with the patch is nice, but from a healthcare professional like yourself, it's great to hear that as well. And then our next gentleman is Barry Robbins, and Barry, I know you've got a great story about how this patch has certainly helped you since you've been wearing it. Tell us a little bit about yourself, when you started the patch, and what has taken place for you. Well,
Brian, I don't think Barry made it.
okay.
I know he was in a high level meeting and he was going to try to be out, but
No problem. I was just looking for him.
let's do this. Rachel's awesome testimony is really awesome. What I'd like to do is ask Mr. Steve Reynolds to come on. Unmute yourself, Steve, and give us a couple of minutes of what LifeWave has done for you. Let's hear a little business side of the business also. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Steve Reynolds.
Nothing like being put on the spot.
How's that for having to be
That's
audible
okay.
radio?
That's okay. Thank you, Donnie.
Reynolds, you're in. Go.
I appreciate it. And Brian, thank you for going through the information. You're so good at what you do. I sit here. I always learn something new, something different. Even though it's been about 11 months since I was introduced to this patch by Steve Fisher and Alan Cantrell, a couple of friends of mine. I've known these guys for almost 20 years, and I retired out of the Air Force. I did 32 years in the U.S. Air Force. Retired about 10 years ago. I'll be 64 next month. So I have my share of wear and tear. I have had my eye on health and wellness over the last 10 years since I retired, trying to live a little, trying to find more quality of life in how I feel. Um, I think that's just a byproduct of getting older, and what can be managed and what can I control, and tell me how to control it. And this patch and the technology behind the X39 just kind of blew my mind. And Brian said something earlier. It's so complex in the technology, yet it's so simple in its application. And that's what I like from a health and wellness standpoint. For me, I didn't have to change habits. I didn't have to completely turn my lifestyle upside down in order to put a patch on every morning and peel it off before bed. Um, so I saw everybody sees results and benefits. Some people see miracles. I've seen just countless things that, you know, um, I didn't know what I believed when I started, but as I've got on the patch and saw the results, and some of my problematic issues went away, particularly with tennis elbow, bad shoulder, bad back, things that have been chronic for me for 20, 30 years. I got relief on that stuff, which blew my mind. It's a clean alternative for me. Managing discomfort is a big deal today for me. And so I have a clean way to do that and very affordable way to do that. And I think Donnie alluded to it a little bit. And I think we might get into that a little bit here, is we have an opportunity to share this information. I mean, when Brian's sharing that patent and all the benefits that's written right in the patent that this provides, I'm thinking to myself, as Steve Fisher says, who doesn't want some of that? Who doesn't want some of that? People who don't know about that. And
Right.
and so it's our job, if we want to be a messenger here, a messenger of wellness, is to go put this information in front of people. Whether they want to try the patch or not is up to them. But your ability to put information in front of people that you care about, because again, people get results, people get major benefits here. And we can be the messenger in a message that I think is, I don't know what's more important. If you can help somebody get healthier, what is more important than that, other than maybe deepening their faith? So I love all parts of this. I'm glad to be here. It's always a pleasure for me to jump on here. There's an opportunity here, not only for your health, but if you're interested in your wealth. And I would encourage you to stick around and ask some questions and take advantage of the opportunity that we have here, Brian.
Well, thanks a lot. Thanks, Stephen. Appreciate that.
You bet.
Sorry for putting you on the spot, but I knew you were up to it. So,
This guy, I don't know
okay.
that you could have somebody write a script any better than that. That's phenomenal. Steve, appreciate your passion, buddy. You're the best. And I'll just wrap up a couple more things before I bring on the aforementioned Steve Fisher that Steve Reynolds told you about. And the testimonials that you heard, one of my favorites is Rachel alluded to many of the medical professionals around the country. There's a vascular surgeon in Scottsdale, Arizona. He's been a vascular surgeon for 30 years. His name's Dr. Larry Persant. And I heard him speak not long ago, and he said, in 30 years of a vascular surgeon, he's had more blessings with his patients in 2 years with the patch than he did in 30 years as a surgeon. So that's what's taking place out there. Testimonials like the two you heard, and even Dr. Prasant are on this landing page for if you're the kind of person that is very analytical. Steve mentioned the patents. The clinical studies and the patents are on the website, thisisitinfo.com. You can see the arrow there points right to where it says patents and studies. On the computer version, on the mobile version, you just click on menu and the drop down allows you to go there. There's also testimonials and all kinds of videos here if you want to look a little deeper into this. But just know that none of us have to be experts because we have tools like this. And so the question always is, okay, how do I get started? Well, you can start off just wearing the patch and becoming a customer. There's a number one there says retail customer. The patch is $149. I will tell you that anyone who's spent any amount of money on whether they are into holistic and natural health alternatives, they're spending tons of money. If not, they're probably spending tons of money on on band-aids, right? Prescriptions that they have to pay for. So the value of this, one of the things David Schmidt started and had it with his intentions was to make this patch affordable to everyone in the world. But I will say that I don't let my friends pay retail. If somebody's ready to become a customer, I like to share with them how to become a preferred customer and basically get $50 off and get the 30-day supply. Steve showed you the patch on his arm. They come in a little envelope we call a sleeve, and there's a month's supply in one of these sleeves for $99. Or Steve and Donnie have both alluded to the ability to earn commissions, and you do that by becoming a brand partner. So get with the person who invited you to watch this, again, either live or recorded, and they can help you get started. And the way we all get started as far as becoming a brand partner is with one of these initial, what they call enrollment kits. And there's no right or wrong answer on which one you select. Everybody has different needs, maybe the size of your family or how quickly you want to get started as far as the business side of things. I always kind of steer my friends to at least the advanced plan, that second from the left, because that does unlock our entire compensation plan. But get with the person who invited you, and they'll be able to help you customize a kit that makes the most sense for you. I'm always excited when I get to either share a stage live or share a Zoom with this gentleman that I'm introducing to you, because he's literally the best of the best. And what makes Steve's presentations so good, or he does so well, is because Steve's just Steve. He's not putting on a presentation. He's just a real
I
genuine
was wondering what you
person.
got.
And you're gonna notice that as soon as you get a chance to meet him. So Steve, thanks for being on, buddy. And I appreciate you being here and love hearing your story. So share it with everybody as far as where you were when you got the call. And I see that looks like Mark Delgado joined us tonight, and you can throw him under the bus in person instead of when he's not here.
That's right. That's right, man. I'm excited to be on with you guys, and everyone did a fabulous job. And loved hearing Rachel's story, and especially her from her expertise. But I can't really add anything to what you guys have said. I mean, if someone is a guest tonight and you're not convinced yet, nothing that I am going to say is going to help you, because you already heard enough. But what I can do is share my story and really what caught my attention here, and what caused me to come out of retirement for this. But I actually retired from building a successful network marketing business, and towards the end of that, I spent 3 years in the corporate office as the chief sales officer. And when I got out of the corporate offices, my wife and I retired here to just south of Knoxville, Tennessee. We're on a golf course back here on a lake, looking at the Smoky Mountains. And I've been playing a lot of golf for the last 4 years, and I wasn't interested in doing anything else. And a buddy of mine who actually joined the call with us tonight, Mr. Mark Delgado, he reached out to me in January of 2024, and shared this information with me. And unfortunately, I stiff armed Mark for 11 months, and it had nothing to do with Mark and everything to do with my situation. It just shows you I just wasn't interested. But to Mark's credit, he kept sharing information with me, and that's really what I can share with you tonight is what caught my attention. And I'll tell you, one of the first things that caught my attention here was actually the founder of the company. And when I started doing my research on him and learned who he was, and what he'd done that Brian already shared with you tonight, I was completely impressed with him and his resume. And then secondly, what Brian already shared with you is this technology. I to be honest, didn't know what stem cells were. I mean, I had heard of them just like everyone else. Um, and I knew people were getting stem cell injections, and paying lots of money to get those. But that's about where my knowledge stopped on stem cells. I didn't know what their function was in the body. Um, and when I learned what you saw tonight, and did my own deep dive on stem cells, and how they work and what they do in the body, one day I finally told my wife, I said, everything I'm learning, everything I'm seeing about this, uh, we need to be on this X39 patch because if it's regenerating your stem cells, that's got to be an incredible thing for your body. And so she said, well, call Mark and tell him. And so I called Mark and I said, Mark, I'm not interested in the business. You know, Diane and I just want to get on the X39 patch. So just tell me how to do that. And Mark was smart enough to say, hey, just do me one favor. And he said, just get on a Zoom with my friend Danny McDaniel and just let him tell you his story. He said, you guys are a lot alike. He said, you're gonna like Danny. Just let him tell you his story and we'll go from there. And I said, okay, no problem. And when I met Danny McDaniel, who was one of the gentlemen that were on their team, um, and I learned about his situation that he had also retired from network marketing. He had made $41 million in his previous company and came out of retirement for this and had built a system that we could all plug into and use to help grow our business. It became a no-brainer for me. And so we got involved in November of 2024 and got on the patches, had incredible results. My wife and I both had incredible results on the patches. But what really blew us away is when we started sharing this with our friends and family. And guys, my phone started ringing off the hook from people that we had shared it with and people on our team. And about every other day, I was getting calls from people, and they always start the same way. They say, Steve, you're not going to believe what happened. And they would start telling me their X39 story. And I would relay these stories to my wife, and I was just like, this is unreal. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. And so that's really what raised our belief level through the roof. And then I'll share just a few other things with you that played a huge part. I'm going to share my screen real quick, Brian, but this is something else that really, from a business perspective, caught my attention because when I look at a company, as I mentioned, the first thing I look at is who's at the top. I want to know who's running the show. I want to know what their background is. And so when I saw this information that this company is 20 years old, they've got a proven track record. They went from 20 million in revenue in 2020. Now think about this, guys. That's the year that the first full year rollout of X39, okay? And the company went from 20 million to 600 million in 2024. All right, think about that. What kind of massive growth that is. That's over a 3,000% increase since 2018. Makes us the fastest growing company in direct sales in the world, right? Open in 80 countries now, 84, I think, to be exact, if they haven't added any last week. And the other thing is it's not a Me Too product. Most of the things that you see in the direct sales industry um, are they're in what we call a red ocean. All right. And a red ocean is when you have hundreds of companies competing for the same customer, right? It's like there's so much competition. It's you know just a complete red ocean. And we're in this blue ocean over here by ourselves because as Brian shared with you earlier, this technology is patented. There's over 70 patents on what we talked about tonight. And we're the only boat in this ocean, guys. And all the fish are coming to our boat. That's not only a great fishing analogy, that is a great business analogy. That's what you look for. You want to be in a blue ocean with a true blue ocean product. And that's what we have. And because of X39 and because of this patented technology, we are one of the fastest growing company in this industry for the last 2 years in a row. We won the Bravo Growth Award from Direct Selling News 2 years in a row here. And so it's really something that when you look at hockey stick growth like this, that's something that catches my attention. And I've been around long enough. I've been in the right place at the right time before, and I knew what it looked like. And I realized once again in my life, I'm in the right place at the right time again. And when you're in the right place at the right time and you mix that with action, you get exponentially rewarded. And that's what we have a chance to do here, is just simply by sharing this information with others, you can be exponentially rewarded. And another thing, and I'll close with this, Brian, but one of the things that I really love about this is, somebody mentioned it earlier. It may have been Brian, I don't know. But one of the great things about this is whether you're interested in the business side or not, this is a great technology, right? Our main goal tonight, honestly, is just to get everyone on this technology, to get everyone on X39. And whether that's as a customer or a brand partner, does not matter to me. They're both a great option. And as Brian mentioned, get it back with the person that invited you on and just say, hey, I'm ready to get started, and tell them what makes the most sense for you. That's what we want, is what makes the most sense for you. But one of the things I love about this is even as customers, they can, as a what we have, he mentioned preferred customer. We have preferred customer plus, where you can actually refer 3 people and get your patches for free. And it's just a crazy good option for someone that if you're gonna get on this technology and you want to tell your mother and your brother and your sister about it, you can do that, and your patches are free. If you wanna join and build a business like we're doing, where you can actually create a secondary income here, then that's the brand partner side. And it's an incredible side business, just simply telling others, as Steve Reynolds so greatly said, whether it's about your health or your wealth, right? And you can do both of those here. So we want to encourage you, get started right away, and we can't wait to hear